San Francisco, and then I built 6 for one customer in 1994 called Creep Festivals. And they did very well too. My dream has always been to do my own upstate New York here in the Utica area. Of course, the population is nowhere near where I've done the others. But I wasn't looking to do it on that big of a scale. So when I did Screamland 2 years ago, I did it up on my property. And I didn't expect much. That's up in Richfield Springs. And I had almost 3,000 people go through.
It's incredible.
And I said, wow, if I get 3,000 people to go through in a rural area, outdoors, in the rain, and we had a lot of rain 2 years ago on Halloween. Every weekend it rained.
Basically, a lot of people really took advantage of this then. I mean,
yeah.
It was something that the people enjoyed and they grasped it.
Everybody loved it.
In every age group.
Yep.
In every
so
age
I said, well, being in the area we're in, and the weather up here is terrible for Halloween, I said, if I can do it up here indoors, this should be no problem. So this past year, I went and rented the Woolworth store in the New Hartford Shopping Center, 10,000 square feet. I built a 22-room haunted house. I built a Hollywood Horror Museum, and I had 5 movie stars come in. I needed about 35 employees.
That's where I interviewed Linda Blair.
Yes, that's correct. When I started this project, I didn't have a lot of money. I didn't have a lot of money for advertising, and the kids that had worked for me the year before up at Richfield Springs wanted to work again, and I said, well, this time we want to do it a little bit different. I'd like to pay everybody. They all pitched in and did it for nothing the year before. I didn't make a lot of money the year before. It was just a trial type thing. I said, I'm not sure if it's going to work in New Hartford Shopping Center. I don't know. But if I brought almost 3,000 people to Richfield, I should double that in New Hartford. So I gave it a shot.
What kind of a response did you have locally in the New Hartford Shopping Center?
Well, like I said, when I did it in Richfield Springs, I had, I don't have the exact number, but it was 2,700 some
Close to
people
3,000 people.
Close to 3,000 people showed up. And when I decided to do this and put it on, I knew from the money that was spent that I would need about 6,000 people to go through to make it break even, so to speak. When I did it, by the end of the month, 3,169 people showed up.
The paper said you left town, pulled up stakes, left without paying your youthful employees. What's your side of the story, Bob?
Well, I didn't leave town and pull up stakes. I'm still here. As a matter of fact, the haunted house is still in New Hartford Shopping Center, so I didn't pack up and run out of there. And some of these pieces are from there. The employees did not get paid. Some did get paid, by the way. First of all, before I even opened, I spoke with all the employees and told them I was not sure whether it would work or not. I did not have a lot of money. I put every penny I had into it, and obviously it had to go for advertising up front. And also, to make it work, I needed the movie stars, so I thought. So they had to be paid, plane fares, hotels, everything. It cost almost $60,000 to put it on. And I told the employees I would be able to pay them at the end of the month if it worked. If it did not work, I would not be able to pay them at the end of the month, but that I would pay them, give me time, and I would pay them because I have my animated effects company. And they agreed on it. They worked, and after we were open for 2 weeks, by then I could see, unless a miracle took place, I was not going to be able to pay them. So I had a meeting with them again and told them that as of today, which was like the 20th of the month, I would not be able to pay them at the end of the month, and 4 people left. I told them, you know, if they didn't want to work any further, that's fine. I would still pay them for what they did as soon as I got the money. If they did stay on, they were staying on knowing that they weren't going to get paid at the end of the month, that they would have to wait for their money. And out of about 35 people, 30 or more people stayed.
Bob, we had mentioned some of the friends that you brought along with us. Why don't we take a walk around and take a look at what you brought for us
Sure
today?
can.
As I'd mentioned, we brought some of our friends along, and speaking of friends, Greg, would you come in here and join us, please?
Yeah.
Greg, you've met Bob Martin?
Yes, we have.
Greg,
Hey,
our
Greg.
film director.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about this guy?
Well, this guy here is, right now, he's a static figure, which means he's not animated to move, but he could be on a pneumatic cylinder up in the air, hanging over you, and when you come by, he swings out at you, or he could have his legs moving slowly, you know, like he's walking towards you. And haunted houses, and that's what this one's for. Any haunted house animatronic figure is all for the ultimate of surprise. So if you're walking in the dark and all of a sudden a light comes on and this figure comes shooting forward, that does the trick.
I opened the show with this on my back. Nobody moved it. It wasn't animated, but it did move.
And I will never tell.
What else have you got over here for
With
us?
springtime, Ken. That's probably what it was.
This guy here is a rotted corpse, and I've used figures just like this in Tales of the Dark Side. Raiders of the Lost Ark had a bunch of these guys in the temple scene with the snakes running through them.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
What I use is from the biological center, I buy the skeletons, and then I put on all the makeup on them. Okay? So you actually can sculpt your own flesh onto them however you want it to look. More meaty, less meaty. Depends on your appetite.
Looks all bones to me.
I guess I'm looking at real teeth, am I not?
No, they're plastic.
Well, those
These
are
are plastic teeth. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Looks like a smoker. to
You've
me.
convinced me that they're really not plastic.
Nope, he's quite the guy here.
And who do we have over here behind you?
Yeah.
This young lady here is I Just Remember Mama, and she is from the movie FX. And they needed a lifelike person for sitting in a rocking chair. If you've seen the movie FX, she's in his apartment, and she's sitting in a rocking chair. And they mention her, I Just Remember Mama. And this is the original piece from the movie. Now, these are not plastic. These are real dentures, okay? And this is a latex skin life cast of another person.
Oh, my goodness.
And I use glass eyes from Germany. And it's all done in cosmetics. And then I use the biological skeleton underneath, and this is all latex skin. And it's brushed latex liquid skin with cotton, and you shape your own flesh or whatever you want to do. The
Poor
same
thing
as
has
the
been very
skeleton.
sick, hasn't she?
She's been very sick.
Cindy Crawford, she's not.
Well, I was going to give you something like that.
I was going to ask you, is this the same material here as down here?
No, this is a different, it's very flexible. As you can see, you could press in on it. This is sturdier.
You're making her look more real.
And what do we have here, Bob?
This guy is probably familiar to the public, and this is a face hugger from the Alien movies. This is the creature that is inside the egg, and when the egg opens up, this face hugger comes out.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of wraps around your face and then impregnates you. And then you have a chest burster that comes out of you, and the chest burster that comes out of you becomes another alien. It's kind of a weird story. But this is a face hugger. This is an original from the mold, and it's the full-size figure. It's the same size as they use in the movies. Okay? And this is done in latex.
Did you take pieces of things and kind of put those together and then put this whole thing together? Or
No, well, you start out by sculpting it with clay. You come up with a sculpting, okay? And after it's okayed by whoever has to okay it, then you have to make a mold of the sculpting. You make a plaster mold, an injection mold, so that you can shoot foam into the mold.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
After you put a skin of latex around the perimeter, and you shoot foam into the mold, and you come out with a latex skin copy.
This looks like it might be popular in the stores, you know.
You guarantee me a nightmare tonight?
That depends on how serious you take these. You already had a
Taking
spider
very
move on
serious
you.
after the spider moving out.
That's what you said. I don't know
What do we
anybody
have
else
over
saw.
here?
This is just a wall of faces, which I did for the haunted house in Screamland. And what we did was we took a lot of the latex skin faces and just put them on a wall, and this whole thing is done in latex. And it's just brushed cotton and latex together and make these weird shapes. And we cut some of the heads from the back off and just put them into it looks like they're kind of coming out of the wall. Another idea to do with this would be to take it and cut a hole in the board itself and leave just latex there with a hole, and a person could, from behind there, push right out and form the face with the stretchable latex. And that would be kind of weird when the people come by.
Yeah, and then move a little bit.
Good.
But we could make these talk, scream, whatever you want them to do. Hi,
Look
Joe,
like
how you
they're
doing?
talking right now. I'm thoroughly convinced.
Talking heads, yeah.
This is my face, too, by the way. Every movie I do, every haunted house I build, I always put my
Sort of like a
face in.
Hitchcock thing.
Yeah, I got
Yeah,
this
it's a cameo.
Hitchcock syndrome. You
Yeah,
know what I
right.
mean? So I do that. And
So what can we tell me about the house pet here? What do
this
we
guy
got going
here,
Yeah, let me get out of the way here.
if anyone has ever
getting
seen the
attached.
movie Pumpkinhead, okay, this creature here is an exact replica of the original piece from Pumpkinhead. It's out of the original mold from the movie, okay? So you can imagine this size. This is how what the size was in the movie, and the actor who was inside the costume, because for the movie it was a costume, and there was cable drive for the mouth movements and the lips, the eyes, the expressions were all cable drive inside the mask that he was wearing. Okay, and then if you look at his legs here, his feet actually were up here.
So down,
The person that was in there was only from here up tall, and this is stilts. Okay.
ballet person, probably?
A ballet person.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Very, very
This is an
impressed.
original piece. This is a very nice looking piece. And it's all latex, the same
Actually,
principle.
the feel of it, when I touched it, was like clammy, like it's much eerie. Come on, Ken.
Well, if I said give me 5, I'd, you know.
Yeah, right. Well, I can only give you 4 back. That's 9.
I got you. I see.
Right? Okay.
Very, very interesting, Bob. I'll tell you, you and your friend.
I'm sorry. Is this? Can you see this?
Well, Bob, that certainly gives us a nice tour of what you brought along with you, and I'm sure there's many, many more that, if the time allowed, we'd certainly like to have you come back and show us some of the other things that you have made, discovered, and certainly worked with.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
On behalf of Greg and myself, Central New York After Dark, certainly thank you very much for appearing on our show.
Thank you and for inviting me.
Thank you very much.
Very much so.
Nice to meet you. Thank you. Thank you.
And remember, don't just say Fort Schuyler, say Fort Schuyler beer. That one's for you, Lyle. Bob Martin, thanks for stopping by. Greg Dean, Marty will be real proud of you. See you on our next show, Central New York After Dark.